In the world of productivity, there is no shortage of trendy hacks and ideas. Now, my life has benefited from a lot of these ideas, but I have found that there is a dark side in my quest to become more productive: anxiety. And so today I want to walk you through 5 productivity myths. Just simply by being aware of them, you'll be able to recognize them and stop allowing them to feed anxiety in your life. Copy what successful people do. Think of any person that you deem to be successful. You can look them up online and probably find their daily routine. There is absolutely something that you can learn from just about anybody that is experiencing quote-unquote success. But if you believe that you can just copy what they did and get the same productivity or quote-unquote the same success, I believe that's a myth. That's a lie. Because we are all created as individuals with individual constraints, individual blessings, gifts, skills, talents, and abilities, and we need to be able to play to your strengths. Think about the amount of content that is out there that says that in order to be truly productive, you need to be an early riser. Like if you're not getting up at 5 a.m., if you're not part of the 4 a.m. club, you're missing it, right? But what if you're a night owl? What if your best and most productive hours are later in the day? Does that mean that you can't be productive because you don't operate at 110% when you jump out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning? And if you did believe that myth, then you start to question and say, hey, what's wrong with me? Well, there's nothing wrong with you. God created you as an individual in your own strengths. So analyze the productivity habits of others, pick the ones that will play to your strengths specifically, and build your own habits. Set ridiculously big goals to motivate yourself. I love setting big goals, but research has shown that if the goal is too big, too far away from where you are right now, that your motivation will actually decrease over time. Where you thought that big goal would help to motivate you to move forward, it's actually going to take your motivation and drop it off a cliff. It seems a little counterintuitive, but we begin to tell our brains that it's so far away that what we do today doesn't actually matter. I'm not actually making any progress. And then so we stop taking any steps forward altogether. So should we scrap big goals altogether? Absolutely not. We need big goals, big dreamers, but you do need to reframe them in your mind and make sure you understand, hey, what's that little step that I need to be taking today that's actually going to move me in progress towards that goal? And then celebrate when you take that step. Before I started to write my book, I had this goal. I'd like to write a book one day. It was a big goal, but I didn't really know where to start. And then I realized something crazy. Hello, the book isn't going to write itself unless I sit down and actually begin the practice of writing. There will never be a book. So I told myself that I would write for 10 minutes that day. Only 10 minutes. And then I slowly developed that habit until I was writing on a daily, consistent basis. I became a writer. And you know what's interesting is I didn't actually sit down and say, I'm going for it. This is the book that I want to write. This is the timeline that I'm really shooting for, until I actually already had the habit of writing, because I knew that then I could set the goal. It was realistic. I was already in motion. I'd already become that person that I wanted to become as a writer. Now I just needed to see it through to completion and finish a book and actually publish it. So whatever that big goal or dream that you have is, make sure you understand what that first step is. Can you take the first step one day, and then can you take it the next day? Can you take it consistently to build up the habit that's going to help you become the person who achieves that goal? Highly productive people don't take breaks. Now, this is one that I've struggled with and is probably the one that has increased my anxiety the most. All of us have peak times through our day where we're able to be most productive, but it's not every single hour of every single day. But if we look at some of the myths of productivity, it's like how to optimize your morning, how to optimize your lunchtime routine, how to optimize your evening. I want to optimize every portion of my life, but that leads you to believe that you can be productive in every moment of every day, and that's a myth. And I have found that this myth generally leads to 2 possible outcomes, both of which are incredibly dangerous. The first is that we never allow ourselves to properly rest. We never allow ourselves to take a family vacation, maybe to take an extra day off. We never read a novel just for fun, and we miss out on some of the incredible joys of life that are happening right now. We defer our joy and our happiness in the pursuit of productivity. And the second possible outcome is burnout. Now, there are going to be times in life when we do need to go all in on a project, 110%, but it's not going to be 110% for 365 days for the next 5 years. That's not sustainable. It's not feasible. And the interesting thing is that if you do believe that's the way that you need to proceed, it will lead to burnout, which will not only just slow you down, it could take your productivity right off the table and wipe out all the work that you had already put in. Rest is incredibly important in your ability to make an impact, in your ability to live the life that God's calling you towards. Plan for it. Busy people are productive people. Do you ever have those days where you're super busy, rushing to and fro, going to pick up the kids, got to go to work, whatever those things are, but you get to the end of the day and you say, did I actually accomplish anything? This really ties into myth number 3, where we say busy people don't take breaks. And if you believe that you have to be busy to be productive, then you never allow yourself the possibility of even slowing down. And you may even begin to believe the lie that you must be productive because you're so incredibly busy. But busy was never the goal. Right? Impact is the goal. The impact that God wants to have in and through your life. That's the goal. Being busy was never the goal. And if you look at your gifts and talents, those gifts that God's given you, I bet that you can't do them for 16 hours a day. Now, why do I say 16 hours a day? I'm assuming you're sleeping at some point, right? But you can't actually pour into that thing and actually be quote unquote productive or busy in that gift or talent for 16 hours a day. It's just not feasible. But it's amazing how much you can accomplish, how much you can produce and be productive in times of intense focus and flow. When you actually say, you know what, this is it. This is when I sit down and get this done. This is when I focus. This is when I make this particular project come to life. So when you can, set up your day to take advantage of those times. And it's okay to take naps sometimes. Right now, I've got 3 kids. Naps aren't really on the table, but in the future, that would be nice. You need more willpower, self-discipline, or motivation. If you are waiting for the motivation to start something, you will never start. And if you believe that you need self-discipline and willpower to keep you going, then you will quit. And if you believe both of these things, you will begin to also believe that there must be something wrong. There must be something wrong with me feeding into your anxiety. The truth is that you will never be ready. I have found this in so many areas of my life. I'm never ready. I was not ready to write the book. I was not ready to start filming these YouTube videos, but I'm learning as we go along, hopefully improving and getting better each time. And I'm never going to have the perfect mix of motivation and self-discipline to keep going. But what you do have is God's Spirit within you. You have that spirit of power, love, and self-discipline, and you can lean into that, knowing that that spirit is inside you. Even when it's uncomfortable, that's when you can lean in. And I have learned to recognize that even though I often don't feel like sitting down to write or sitting down to create, once I do start that, I love that feeling. Once I get to the point of finishing filming the video, finishing the editing, working with the team, that's really exciting for me. The beginning is always like, I don't know if I've got this, but I sit down and take the action anyway because I know the outcome on the other side is so incredibly powerful. Or if I'm about to go out and do a workout and do a run or whatever that is, I never want to go. I don't know if anybody else can relate, but I never want to go. But once I'm going and I'm moving or I'm back inside and I've completed everything, I feel great. So it's going to be uncomfortable as you begin to grow, as you begin to push those comfort zones and try new things and step into what God's calling you towards. Lean into that. I'm so incredibly excited about the impact that God wants to have in and through your life. If you've made it this far and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much for your comments. I will see you in the next video.